So you want to create YouTube videos, but not the ones that you just put together on your phone, throw up on YouTube and call it good. The real ones, where when people get done watching it, they're glad they watched it. They watched the whole way through, and you get lots of views off of, and you know that you're putting something that's a quality video up there on YouTube. Well, one of the first things I think you need to work on to be successful is how to be confident or composed or comfortable in front of the camera. And in this video, I'm going to talk about 4 steps that you can work on to become much more comfortable in front of the camera. But before we dig into those, why is it important to be confident or comfortable in front of the camera? Well, for a second, just think about a video you may have watched. One that you can tell the person has a nervous energy. Maybe they're not prepared, or just how they're composing themselves or the way they're speaking. You know they're not confident. You know they're nervous. There's just a strong nervous energy. Well, chances are that's going to make you feel nervous or maybe make you feel uncomfortable. And as a result, most people are not going to make it through that video. They're going to start to feel uncomfortable. They're not going to like watching the video. It's just not going to be something they want to stick through, and they're going to end that video early. They're going to stop watching, move on, and go find something else on YouTube or something else to do. And what does that do? Well, that tells YouTube when they look at it and say, oh, people are only watching 5%, 10% of this video, people must not like it. It must not be good content, which then tells YouTube, I don't need to show this. I don't need to push this to more people. I need to hide this one down. It's just not a good video. And by being comfortable and confident, that's one of the first things that people can be drawn to you. They can want to watch your content. They can be like, oh, this person knows what they're talking about. They're good in front of the camera. They feel confident. I feel that too. Naturally, I'm going to stick around longer. And so that's what I want to help you do. So let's talk about step number 1. And for our first step, I want you to stick around and don't click away yet, because it's not what it seems. But what I'm going to talk about is practice. And when I say practice, I don't mean, oh, if you want to get good at something, you got to put work into it. I don't mean that at all. But what I am talking about is taking a step back. And sometimes when we start something new, we get excited. We just want to go through with it. We want to make progress. We want to show results. And in YouTube, that means putting a video on YouTube, which means rushing to get a video out on YouTube. But sometimes that doesn't give us the results we want. We don't have the skills yet. We don't have the confidence yet. And when we turn on that camera, we feel the pressure or the nervousness of knowing what we're recording is going to go to YouTube. And sometimes that nervous energy comes through the camera. And I will tell you, when I first started, my very first video, when I clicked that record button, it wasn't like I was just sitting in a room talking to myself or talking to my camera, because that is what was going on. I felt like I was talking to thousands of people, because I knew that whatever I was recording was going to go into a video that I uploaded to YouTube, which had the potential to be viewed by hundreds or thousands of people. And as a result, I got nervous, and it showed through the camera. And everybody responds different when they have nerves. But in the case of recording on a camera, things you might experience are talking too slow or too fast, depending on how your nerves have you react. You might suddenly say a lot as you search for words because you're moving a little too fast, your brain is just flying, and you have to have those filler words while you try to figure out what you say. Without realizing it, you start to belabor points. Something that maybe should have been a 5 or 10-second talking point might become 1 or 2 minutes, something that drones on for way too long, and your audience starts to go, oh my gosh, dude, are you going to get to the point? YouTube doesn't like that. They want you to stay on point and keep delivering. And on top of that, you might just have a nervous energy that people might feel like your body language or other things you're doing, how you're talking, comes across as nervous, and they pick up on that. And obviously there's so many other things that you might do, everybody's different, that shows that they're nervous or how they react and makes it not natural for how you would normally talk or present yourself. So when I say practice, what I want you to do is create your first video knowing it will never go to YouTube. So you can take a step back, take the nerves out, and know it's truly just you and your camera practicing, knowing that video will never see light of day. It will never be uploaded to YouTube. And it's truly just you practicing, being comfortable in front of the camera. So that way when you really do create content, you've already felt how you can be in front of the camera, and you know you don't need to be nervous. So don't be afraid to take a step back, because you know you're going to be putting some work in that's going to help you deliver that much better content when you do get started. Speaking of practice, something we're going to work on in future videos is how to get users to hit that like button. Another very important metric that tells YouTube how good your video is or is not. So with that being said, why don't you practice hitting that like button? It's all I ask. It helps out this channel a lot, and I do really appreciate it. So for our second step is reviewing your work. What I want you to do is take that footage you just recorded, throw it on your computer, watch it in a video player, put it in your video editor, and start watching it back. Analyze yourself for areas you could improve, because you might be surprised at how many little things you're doing, things you don't even realize you're doing, that you can dramatically improve, that will really come across in your videos, just showing you as much more professional, showing you as much more prepared, much more confident, and let viewers enjoy watching you a lot more just by correcting little things that you didn't even realize you were doing. Now, when I first started, I didn't realize this at all, but I said every 5 words. And I didn't even, I went back and I watched the video and I was like, oh my gosh, I say all the time. Did not realize it all. If you would have asked me, I didn't say it once when I was recording. It wasn't until I went and reviewed my work that I realized that. And by doing time with review and not just getting in that rush to hurry up and get content to YouTube, but actually taking a step back and saying, I'm going to look at myself and just improve how I do this before I get crazy and just start throwing everything on YouTube, I identified so many little things that I could correct to make a much better end product. So while it is annoying because it's slowing you down from getting to where you want to be, it's going to allow you to do so much better if you just put a little bit of front end work in. And the other thing I realized after reviewing my footage is that I got way too wordy. And something you have to remember in YouTube is that this isn't a movie that people pay to go see, where they know there might be some slow parts, but they're there to the end. They came to watch a movie, they're going to make it to the end. In YouTube, people generally come for one of two reasons, either to learn something or to be entertained. And if you're not consistently doing this, they're on to the next video. They want to learn what they want to learn and have you keep staying on point and to keep teaching or to be entertained throughout without any down parts. And to this day, I constantly remind myself to stay on point, to not get wordy. And if I do, I stop, I remind myself to keep it short, to keep it on point, and I re-record until I know that I stayed very on point with what I was trying to communicate. And the point I'm trying to make with this review step is to always keep an analytical eye when you're looking at your footage or when you're doing your video editing. Almost treat it as if you're the viewer on the other end of YouTube. What would be good? What would be bad? What can you identify that will help you create a better video next time, or maybe what you have to go back and improve upon, so that way you're always building on your skill set. You're always improving. And from there, cycle through this process a few times. Watch your footage, analyze it, figure out what you could do better. Go back and re-record, do the exact same segment. Go back to your computer, review it, see if you did better, where can you improve? And go ahead and run through this a few times, because it's going to help you improve a lot as you keep identifying those little flaws you didn't realize you were doing. And if I'm going to be real honest with you, if you're not willing to do this step, well, then you're not really in it to be good at YouTube, because you're going to have to improve. You're going to have to learn how to present yourself to camera. And if you're not willing to just go through that a few times, identifying your flaws and improving on them, you're never going to create great content, because you can't just throw random footage up on YouTube and expect success. You have to work at your craft. You have to put time in and be proud of all that work you're putting in to improve your craft. And also, I'm here to help you. I'm going to be creating a lot of content to teach you different things that you need to know. So you probably should subscribe so you know when that comes out, right? And bell for notifications. And on to our third step. No, I'm just kidding. It's learning. And I really like this step because of how easy it is. When you're trying to get good at YouTube, let's say you've been cycling through the things we've been talking about, where you do some recording and you go back and analyze yourself. You're only going to be able to do so much before you don't really know what else to analyze, what else to try to figure out to improve. But there is so much information that you can easily learn new tricks and tips to get better at YouTube. There are all sorts of YouTube creators that each have their own style that teach you how to get better as a YouTube creator. And I recommend never being satisfied. Watch them all. Binge watch them when you have a chance. Just go through as much content as you can, because you will always be just picking up little tips and tricks that you're watching that video and you go, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. That is such a great idea. And the next time you work on a video, you implement it. And I recommend keeping a list. As they really trigger on something that's, you say that and you go, wow, that is one I should do. You're going to forget it if you don't write it down, more than likely. So make a list. That could just be a little list on your phone. I don't care. But I try to keep a little list. And what I do is every video, I pick one of those to choose to improve on or to work on and try to implement and obtain that skill or whatever it is, make that improvement. Outside of YouTube, there are quite a few good podcasts. So when you're just doing things around the house or you're driving down the road, use that time to educate yourself. Put on a podcast and just listen and absorb. Never be satisfied with learning. There is so many little things that add up. With YouTube, there is gear, lighting, camera, microphone, editing, and there's so many things that can add up that over time, maybe let's say a year, if you keep every video just making one improvement, After that year, you are going to be so much better. So don't be satisfied. Keep wanting to learn. Use those resources that are available for free, and just keep wanting to take that information in. And of course, I hope you subscribe to this channel because I want to be one of those people that helps you learn, helps you make that transition to being a great YouTuber, a person that's proud of the content you're putting out there. So subscribe. On to our final step, flow. Now, everything up to this point has led us to building confidence. There's a reason we're talking about practice and learning and evaluating yourself. You are putting the time in to kind of look over what you're doing, learn from your mistakes, improve upon those, and just get better at your craft. And when you do that, you natively just get better. You get more confident. You just feel better in front of the camera, and that shows through when people are watching. And once you put time into those first 3 steps, something that I feel really helps you build on those and have even more confidence is preparation. So whatever your topic's going to be or what you're going to speak about, take some time to research your talking points. Make sure you're knowledgeable on those talking points, and that when you do go to speak about them, you know that it's with confidence, that you put the time in to know what you're talking about, and that it's going to be accurate, that you know the finer details. From there, take some time to script out what you're going to be talking about. And I'm not saying you have to script out every word. I'm talking about talking points. Putting bullets together that show, here are the main topics I want to hit throughout my video. Then you can review that and say, is this flow the best? Should this go here or should this go first? Should this item transition from this item to this item, from here to here? And you work on that flow. So that way when you actually go to record, you already know what this is going to be. You know the transition, or you know the topic to topic progression. You know the things you want to cover. You know the details of the things you want to discuss. Because what does that do? Yes, obviously it builds confidence, but when you get to hitting that record button and you say, okay, here I go, you're going to talk with confidence. You're not going to stutter. You're not going to have to think about what you want to say. You're not going to have to just kind of search and I do these or as you kind of work through topics. You're knowing what you're going to say. You're already prepared, and that again will show through on camera. So not only does that allow you to feel better and allow you to work faster and better and more accurate and just overall smoother as far as filming the content, it's going to allow the viewer to realize that you're more confident and more prepared and feel like they want to learn from you, that you are keeping them engaged, that you are keeping them learning throughout the course of the video. And I hope you decide to put some time into these steps, because without them, you might just be the person that looks like they just threw stuff up on YouTube and hope that they're just randomly successful, as opposed to the person that prepared themselves, worked on improving, and wants to actually be successful at what they're doing, willing to put that work in. So again, as a YouTuber, you know how much work goes into creating these videos. So I would really appreciate it if you hit that like button and help me out. And hit that subscribe button if you want to keep learning. I am so excited about so many different things we can talk about. All right, until next time, keep learning, keep pursuing, and make your dreams a reality.